Well, 28th of December 2017, you're down the allotment with Dan in Essex, UK on a beautiful crisp winter's morning. About 4 degrees C at the moment, I would estimate. Went down to about -2 degrees C last night, and there was indeed a frost. People were scraping their windscreens off this morning, and in other parts of the UK they've had a lot harsher weather. Fair bit of snow, I believe, and frost, and I hope people out there are safe. But certainly beautiful blue sky. Let me show you the blue sky. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? It's gorgeous, isn't it? So yeah, down the allotment here, just having a little bit of a look around. Not been down here for a while, and things are looking quite healthy. So broad beans. Now, spoke about the merits of broad beans before, and these were put in around November time, and this is what you can sort of expect really. Bit of growth here, and the saying is, if you get them in early, they will crop before the black fly gets them. Now, I'm not sure about this. Some people say it's true, some people say it's not, and some people say it's an old wives' tale. But I'll let you make your own decision on that. But one good thing about growing things like broad beans at this time of year is you can look down your allotment and you can just see some things in the ground, and it can make you feel a little bit, oh, you know, some progress is happening, as opposed to just looking at you know, blank beds, blank raised beds, or blank areas in your allotment. And one good thing is, if you get them cropping a little bit earlier, even if it's a month or so earlier, it may give you a little bit more space at the end of their cropping period to then put something else in. You may get more from that bed. So that's one thing you could consider. But one good thing about broad beans is they're different varieties, of course, and depends where you are. If you're somewhere where it's sheltered, you might consider some large ones, but if you're somewhere where it's rather windy, obviously take an allotment, for example, where there's not so much shelter, or if you live in a windier part of the UK, I don't know, Highlands of Scotland, for example, where it probably is a lot more windy than around here on average, you can get dwarf varieties which don't grow as big, because of course they do tend to blow over. You have to tie them up. But if you just get dwarf varieties, they're not quite so spindly, and they can, you know, be better and more suitable for you, and you end up with a healthier plant and a better crop, and you don't end up with something that ends up getting destroyed. Now, what else have we got? We've got some brassicas here. Look, these are looking good. These haven't been covered up for some reason, but either way, you know, they are there indeed. And some people have asked me about raised beds. So yes, I do indeed, or we do indeed, I should say, employ raised beds. And here we go. So have a look. You can see you've got your 2x4 there, look, and you've got your screws there screwing them in. So raised beds can be good for a multitude of reasons. As my long-term viewers know, that this allotment is no dig, and you can control the growing medium nice and easy there. Also, with regards to raised beds, they just look, they just look nice and neat and tidy, don't they? And you can plan things, and if you just got it dug in the ground, you've got to do your edging, haven't you, because the grass grows all over it maybe, and I find them easier to control in many ways. If you make them out of good quality wood, these are gravel boards, and as I stated before, 2x4. Of course, a degree of rot will happen eventually, because it's wood up against mud and water, so what do you expect? But good quality wood, and build them properly, and you could get a good 5, even 10 years out of them. So that's one thing you could consider. And I mean, I'm certainly no carpenter, but with a bit of basic equipment you can build yourself some raised beds. Even better if you can source the wood for free somewhere, maybe from a builder that doesn't want it anymore and he's just going to chuck it in a skip. Who knows? So here we go, all sorts of things going on here, and let's go over to the rhubarb. Now, rhubarb, in my opinion, is a great thing to grow because it crops for such a long period of time. It generally starts cropping around March time, and there are different varieties here. You've got Timpany Early, or Timpany Early, I'm not sure, can't remember which way you say it, and there's Pink Champagne. One crops before the other, and you get a massive crop from here. If you check out my videos from the summer, you'll see indeed just how much rhubarb came from here. And you think of rhubarb, you think of rhubarb crumble, rhubarb and apple pie. You can even get rhubarb tea. And if you think about it, the days before we could access, you know, fruit year round as easily as we can nowadays, this was a much more important crop. Of course, now you can go down in the middle of winter and you can buy an exotic fruit from the other side of the world, a mango, beautiful fruit. I love mangoes, I really do, and I wish you could grow them here easily. But you know, so it was a very important crop one day, and once upon a time. It's quite expensive to buy now, got good health benefits as well. You want to check that one out, rhubarb, really, but you just eat you don't eat the leaves because they're poisonous. But do your research on rhubarb, and you might consider putting some crowns in. And again, as I like to state with regards to swapsies on allotments or sites or whatever, you might be able to ask someone if they can give you a rhubarb crown, and you could give them something back in return. Because at the end of the day, this doesn't have to be expensive. And I know that people out there are struggling for money in this country and other countries. And sometimes people think that costs can prohibit them from doing things that they want to do, but it doesn't necessarily have to if you maybe take a different approach. Now, with regards to rhubarb, it makes me think, I was down the pub a while ago and I had, don't drink very often to be honest, it was a rhubarb and custard cider, which was certainly different. But yeah, so the rhubarb is looking good indeed, and we've got brassicas dotted about all over the place, you know, all looking good. Plenty of things to grow, yes, and eat as well. And we've got the older Swiss chard here. I love this. This really is one of my favourites. Boiled up with steamed, even better. Absolutely delicious indeed. My long-term viewers know my fondness of kale. I truly believe if someone said to me, you can only grow one brassica, I would choose kale. And my reasons for this are, it crops prolifically. And you can get like nearly up to a year, if you pick it regularly, of crop from one plant, because it just keeps coming, and they don't take up too much space, whereas regards to something like this purple sprouting broccoli, which is an excellent crop, by the way. Purple sprouting broccoli is first class crop, it takes up a bit more space, etc., and it occupies the bed to the following year. But kale literally starts cropping incredibly quickly, maybe like even 2-3 months after you planted it if the weather's right. Whereas with a cabbage, you've got to wait for the you know, the heart to come. You don't have to, but that's what, you know, the ideal thing is with a cabbage, because a cabbage is generally a heart vegetable, isn't it? But so looking at something like this, there's different varieties. Vate's blue curled kale, which is this one, and I think this is Nero di Toscana. But certainly look into kale, and if you only want to grow one brassica, you could just consider some kale. Now, with regards to brassicas, one thing you've got to be very careful of is you don't want to get club root, because club root is a thing that restricts the root and it won't grow properly, and you won't be able to grow brassicas in that space for many years, if at all ever again, without getting club root. So make sure you rotate your brassicas, do a bit of research on that. Don't do what some people do and continually put brassicas in the same place year after year, because you will inevitably end up with club root. So take that into account, please. Okay, so we're over here at the other allotment, and under here, this is covered up presently, but what we're going to do is set some, well, I don't know really what I'm going to set here, to be honest, but I'm thinking about a big area of sweet corn. And as I grew last year, I grew a lot of cucumbers. Variety was Market Moor. A great crop to grow, that really was. And yeah, excellent. And we've got the gooseberries here, look, see these gooseberries? There's Hinnonmaki Green and Hinnonmaki Red here. These are a great crop to grow, and a video I intend to do is about taking cuttings. Now, I do have a video how to take gooseberry cuttings. If you're interested, check that one out, because now is indeed the time of year to take gooseberry cuttings. And under here, I've got a little bit of compost being made. You can see a bit of it under there, look. So that's probably going to get spread on the plot. Under here as well, we've got some soil, really, a no-dig bed under here, a bit of manure, etc, etc, a few leeks, nothing much really here, to be honest. But I really want to try and get this allotment round this year. Didn't have time last year, but this year I hope to really get some great crops. So yeah, I've got the currant bushes, red currants Ojebyn and Baldwin. I do like currants, it makes you think of Ribena, doesn't it? But they really are a great crop to grow, and if you buy them fresh they can be quite expensive. Again, the same thing, I'm going to be taking cuttings probably from, if not these bushes, another bush of the same, and that will be a video. So I hope everybody out there is doing well and going into the new year soon. So all beautiful. Just looking at a beautiful silver birch. Take care. Speak soon.